Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Dyno here, and a lot of people have been asking about it. So today we're gonna deep dive into the Luckless and Dexless meta for Classic World. And if you've been enjoying our deep dives and discussions, don't forget to like and subscribe. So without further ado, let's continue. So if you're still thinking Luckless and Dexless is still viable, you're delusional, bro. Because Classic World looks like old school Maple, but it's not running the same old school math. So that one detail, it changes everything. So this video is me finally putting an end to the debate. Why Luckless Mage was even a thing back then, why it's basically a nostalgic build now, and why Dexless Assassin is not about to be the broken monster everyone's hoping for. Okay, so let's quickly rewind. Old school Maple, Luckless Mages worked because the game basically rewards you for being a gremlin. Magic damage was tied so hard to int that if you just dumped everything into int and ignored luck, you could still hit like a truck. And the funniest part was, you didn't even have to have a real weapon to prove the point. A high level mage could legit be out there with a wooden wand, full int, no luck, and still look fine compared to a normal build. Then maple weapons and elemental weapons showed up and made it worse because now you had these iconic weapons that would scale damage without caring as much about secondary stats. So yeah, Luckless wasn't just a build, it was the absolute meta build, no contest. Now here's the problem. Classic World didn't keep that same relationship. In old school, people lived by this idea, 1 int equals 1 magic attack. And in Classic World, it's basically 2 int equals 1 magic attack. So if you're trying to copy and paste the old full int, no need for anything logic, you're already getting less value for it. And Classic World clearly knows this, because they didn't just nerf int and walk away, they buffed magician weapons to compensate. Like, let's look at Chromie for a second here. Old school Chromie was around 63 magic attack on average. Classic World Chromie is 83. That's thick. So what does that tell me? It tells me they're not trying to preserve the numbers, they're trying to preserve the feeling of progression while changing the system underneath it. Now, do I think Maple weapons are coming? Yeah, they're way too iconic. They embody nostalgia, and Nexon would be insane not to. But do I think they're coming back as these statless skip the whole game weapons? No chance. Classic World already gave us the warning with the Blue Umbrella. In old school, Blue Umbrella was a level 0 statless weapon that had like 15 magic attack average. In Classic World, they turned it into a level 27 statless weapon with 12 magic attack. That is Nexon basically saying, yeah, we remember this item too, and we're not letting it break the game. So if Maple weapons come back, I'm expecting one of two things. They get nerfed to fit progression, or they get secondary stat requirements, or honestly both. Here's my honest take. Classic World isn't going to launch with Maple or Elemental weapons at the time of release. Luckless isn't viable. Can you still do it? Sure. You can try to hold on to your int stocks until Maple weapons release, but to be honest, you can do anything if you're stubborn enough. You can scroll a wooden wand into some disgusting god weapon and flex it like it's 2006. But possible is not the same as viable. The whole Luckless advantage was int scaling being stronger, plus weapon options that didn't punish you for skipping luck. Classic World already nerfed the scaling, and it's clearly adjusting gear to stop the same loopholes. So Luckless to me feels like a nostalgic build, or maybe a save on resets early kind of thing, not the new king of Classic World. So now let's talk about Dexless Thieves, especially Dexless Assassins, because that was the real demon build back then. I'm not even being dramatic. A fully funded Dexless Assassin and old school Maple was straight up nasty. The meta was usually stay Dexless until like 70 to 90, then slowly add Dex so you can wear the Scarab, Mamba, or Casters, whatever your stepping stone was. And every time new Maple weapons were added, that Dexless window got pushed further, because the game kept giving you new ways to avoid paying the stat tax. Classic World has already started to cut that off. Let's compare a weapon that we've actually seen in Classic World, the level 50 Claw. The old school Dark Slain averaged 26 weapon attack, 4 luck, 90 dex requirement. The Classic World version averaged 60 weapon attack, 4 dex, and 50 dex requirement. That's not a small change, that's a redesign. And here's the big part some people missed. In Classic World, Claw dex requirements got standardized. From what we've seen, dex requirements equals the level requirement. So as you level up, the game is basically like, cool, you're stronger, but now you gotta put points into dex if you want to equip anything. That is the exact opposite of old school, the Dexless culture. Old school Dexless was like, how long can I ignore Dex and still win? Classic World is like, pay the toll as you go. Now I know someone's gonna say, bro, the attack is higher, Dexless is saved. No, the reason weapon attack values are exploding is because the formula's changed. We've got this whole attack power versus weapon attack mess happening, and priorities have shifted. I'll try to explain it very quickly. Attack power comes from weapons, which is now your number one priority for damage increases. Weapon attack comes from buffs like rage or warrior pots, and here's the fun part, now they all stack. So yes, bandits can stack rage with steel and a warrior pot, or even apple if they exist. But here's the drawback. Weapon attack formula has changed, and it's been broken down by Ryan, which I call the unofficial Discord's mathematician. According to the source, one weapon attack is equivalent to one secondary stat point in the formula. So for now, as a priority list, attack power first, stats second, and then weapon attack. Now you might be asking me why stats second? Because unlike weapon attack, they add an additional benefit for each stat. Things like dex giving weapon defense and accuracy, or luck giving avoidability. So that plus 34 attack, that jump isn't Dexless's back, it's just the entire scale being different. You can't look at one number and pretend the whole system stayed the same. But then you've got claw speed. A lot of claws are slower now. Some assassins are worried that they're gutted. But to be honest, I think it's just to balance the class out. Think about it late game. It still has the highest crit rate, and with the addition of gloves and earrings having crit rate and crit damage, it makes me believe crit is the true endgame. Meanwhile, the Amoeba, which used to be this big speed flex, is sitting at fast speed. It's still the fastest claw, and you can buy it in the kerning shop now. That matters because Dexless wasn't just damage. It was damage, equipment breakpoints, and early access to stupid good weapons. Some people are saying that the class even feels clunky now because of the speed reduction. If equipment is being normalized and requirements are being standardized, then the Dexless broken spikes aren't going to hit the same. My honest take, without Maple weapons returning in their old form, Dexless Assassins is not about to be the classic broken meta. I don't even think that they'll be the top DPS class anymore without having broken gear. Looking at the playtests, bandits are hitting higher, and I think everything was just balanced properly. Can a funded player still make it work? Yeah, obviously. But I don't think we're getting the old reality where Dexless Assassin was just objectively better if you had the money. Classic World looks like it's trying to stop that exact thing with standard requirements, rebalanced stats, normalized weapon choices. It's progression that actually matters. So is Dexless dead? I think it's in the grave right next to Luckless, and it's no longer the unstoppable monster people keep daydreaming about. But before we close this out, I want to zoom out for a second, because Luckless and Dexless are really just two examples of a bigger thing Classic World is changing. I want to talk about low stat builds in general, not just Luckless and Dexless, because the more I watch Classic World, the more I think at launch, everyone's going to look different. And not because everyone suddenly became a theory crafter, but because some people are going to get blessed, or absolutely trolled by RNGesus. Like yeah, eventually the community is going to lock in a meta, that always happens, but the best part of an official Classic server is, it's not frozen in time. We're going to get updates, balance tweaks, system changes, expansions, and every time a big update drops, new gear shows up. Or old gear gets adjusted, and suddenly what's best shifts again. And honestly, that's healthy, because it means your character isn't just a carbon copy of 2007. Especially early on, your build is going to depend on what you actually have, what drops for you, what you can afford, and what you can scroll without bricking it. So maybe, for once, we don't live in that timeline where you walk into Kerning PQ lobby and it's literally 8 assassins wearing the same thing. Bathrobe, bamboo hat, and amoeba. Classic World should feel a little messy at launch, and if Nexon keeps tweaking gear and progression the way it looks like they are, it might stay messy in the best way. So yeah, if you're trying to plan your whole character like it's 2007, I get it. I love that era too, but Classic World is clearly curating and not copy and pasted. Which means the old meta isn't guaranteed, especially the loophole builds. So now I'm curious, do you think Maple weapons are coming back nerfed, or are they going to slap stat requirements on them and call it a day? So drop your take in the comments, and if the next test build shows more weapons or gives us real clarity on attack power versus weapon attack, or the formula changes, we'll definitely revisit and break it down further. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one.